So, um, this is like the second. This is lesson two. It took longer than I thought. Bear with me, as I requested. And what we're gonna do? Uh, I didn't finish answering the question because the question was like how you can play in different keys. Um, that was just the first part of it, and there's more. And here's more. So uh, the keyboard is still there, and the markings I had made on it are still there. And I want us to look at one thing now. Just a recap. We said we will use C. And the reason we use C is because the rule to making a major scale on C makes you land on the white notes always, which is like pretty simple, right? Something else we said. If we play on C, and the C is the note that's right, the white note that's right before the two, island-ish black notes, the cluster of three notes, cluster of two notes, cluster of three notes, cluster of two notes. So right before the two notes, we have a C. And just like we learned in kindergarten, like we have C, B, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we start A, B, C. The C has always to be the very first note adjacent to the left of the first black note on the cluster of two. So what else do I need to mention? I need to mention that we are not using do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I'm preferring to use, you have to play it singing that in mind, but I'm preferring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If you watch the first video, I think that's enough recap. Oh, something I almost forgot. We said that if you play the first note, we were talking about like intervals. So intervals, you play two full intervals, two full intervals, one half, three full intervals, one half. So what do I mean? If you're on C and you want to play the C major scale, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, how do you arrive at that? Or like, how are you able to like play that from a different key? Whatever key you want to start at, in our case, we're going to use C. You will start with C or whatever you want to start with, but follow this rule. Play a full note to go to the second, a full note to go to the third. Those are two full notes. Half note. Because there's no key here, these are half. Full note again, full note again, full note again, a half. And the reason this is a half is because, as you can see, there's no black key in between them. If there was a black key, that's what we would have played. And we say when you play that or you like employ that rule to different keys, that's how you get now to go up here. But I don't want to use the black notes for now for reasons best known. We'll use them later anyways. Like they are part of like, we'll still use them, but not as of this moment. So the second part, I'll mostly focus on this is an assumption, like you've watched the first part and understood it. We focused on intervals. Now we are focusing on maybe chords. How do you make chords? Like, how can you be able to tell? Like, how will I play without erasing this? Okay, how can you be able to tell what's the difference between like when to use this, when to use this, when to use this, when to use this, or something like, you know, anything. When do you use this? When do you use this? Or how do you even make that up? So I'll answer that. I don't know a lot of it, but I do understand where it comes from. I will say maybe there are better people who are like, pros and all that stuff, but the rules don't change. The rules are the same. So here we go. We will start with, as I said, a quick recap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So it's my assumption that by now you have been able to make up a scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's a major scale. And if my assumption is correct, the next part is going to be like real easy. It's going to be like, a walk in the park. So what we're going to do in the next part, we are going to make chords. And what are chords? As we said, if you play this, you're playing a note. But if you play this, you're playing a chord. So like if you combine two notes, you'll be playing a chord. I'm trying like the simplest I can explain this. Like maybe this is your first time, like you're learning music or something. You don't read music, or you don't want to read, or like something like that. So let's start. We'll start with major chords. And we have minor chords. And my handwriting is not good, but I mean, get used. So major chords, we pick, I use the black pen to mark the major chords. So now at this point we've made the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which you said is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And also try to sing it along, like when you're playing it, so that you can train your ear to listen to the right note and the right degree. So 1, 3, and 5. That's the major scale. So if we say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, if you pick the note on the scale you were able to create, if you pick the number 1, if you pick the number 3, and if you pick the number 5 and combine them, in our case it's C, and number 3 is E, and number 5 I mean is G. And it's for all scales. So major chords we use, we use 1 plus 3 plus 5. That's it. It sounds so happy. 1, 3, and 5. That's the major chord. What's a minor chord? A minor chord is 1 plus flat 3 plus 5. So something I'll mention, whenever we are making chords, at the very start, think of 1 and 5. Always think of 1 and 5. If you think of a chord, think about its 5 and take those as your anchors. It's going to be very helpful. And then we are going to add color to those chords from those anchors. So if you have C, think of its 5. Its 5 is G. So, and just to mention, you can use this G, you can use this G. It's the same. We say the music reverts, think of it around that area. The 2 black notes, the 3 black notes, that area. Okay? So if you have C and G, the major chord, you're adding a 3. That's a major chord. What's a minor chord? I wrote 1, flat 3, and 5. And this brings us to another concept that I did mention in the first lesson, or the first session, that talks about that small b, right? It's written somehow, it's extend. That's called a flat. And we have this. This is not a hashtag, okay? But maybe if that's the way you remember it. But in this context, please try your best to refer to it as sharp. So if I say something like this, if I say, let me write this somewhere here. If I say I'm playing a chord called C, and you see, this is not C hashtag, this is C sharp, okay? If this is C flat, done with that. What does a flat mean? And what does a sharp mean? So, flat, low, think of that. Sharp, high. Sharp, high, flat, low. So, when I said on this chord that we play 1 plus flat 3 plus 5, this is what it means. We have 1, 3, and 5. What is this concept of flat 3 when it comes to constructing a minor chord? So, I remember in the previous video I mentioned the concept of semitones, half notes. This is what it means. From one note to the next note, adjacent to the next adjacent note. So what is the note adjacent to this? It's the black one on the right, and it's the white one to the left. So if you're going to the left, you're going lower. So if you're on any note, if you're on this note, someone tells you you have to lower that note a half step down, you're gonna come here. The next, if you were to play every note, black or white, whatever note you would land on to your left, that's the equivalent of a half note distance, or what we call, like in this context, intervals. So a half note interval from here to here, even from here to here is a half. But if you start from here to here, it's full because you have to go half and another half. That said, what is flat? Flat means the next adjacent note of the whatever mentioned note to the left. Because to the left, it gets lower. Maybe I didn't do this, but I'll play the last note to the left of the piano, okay? And then I'll play them all going up. I'll just do with the white notes. You can hear the last on, very sharp, very low. So if I said 1, 3, 5 is the major chord, 1, 3, 5. See that? And then I have 1, 3, 5, but the 3 here is flat. It means you have to lower the 3 to a half note. And this 3 you have to go down a half note. So what's a half note interval from this note? The next note going down if you were to play every black and white note, which is this. So if you were to play C minor, you would play 1, flat 3. I don't want you to think of its name yet, but flat 3 and 5. So that takes us to C major and C minor. What can you pick from those two notes? Those two notes have two distinct qualities in terms of like You remember I told you to take 1 and 5 as the anchors, okay? 1 and 5. There's that note. I'll explain later why I told you to take 1 and 5 as anchors. And okay, so if you want now to define the type of chord you want, you add 3, 1, 3, 5. And what is 1, 3, 5? You remember? It's a major chord right here. So 1, 3, 5. But you have to flatten the third to make it a minor chord. Okay? Hear that? So we usually play music. If you're playing a C chord, we usually play it with a bass of C. You can tell that like kind of, you know, sad feeling on the second chord, because major chords and minor chords do not have the same. They have a different characteristic in terms of like maybe the first note and the third note, but minor chords are known to kind of be sad somehow, as opposed to major chords which sound happy. Like you can tell the difference between these. You can tell the feel, which is like whenever you're playing, whatever feeling you wanna let out, you use different type of chords to be able to explain, like to be able to express maybe sadness. You would maybe be more inclined to play more into, but that's something that's maybe far beyond. Not far beyond, but it's easy to understand when you understand like these basic concepts. So where do we go next? We've had a major and minor. So these major and minor chords will be very useful in playing the major scale. And what do I mean? Playing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But now we are not playing one note at a time. Now we'll play all of them. Oh, sorry. Again, there are rules followed on what chords to play on one. If you're playing one, do you play a major chord or do you play a minor chord? If you're playing two, do you play a minor chord or major chord? And that validates the reason again why everybody is started from C. Because even if you don't have like, forget about thinking too hard about this. Just put your hands on 1, 3, and 5. I'll have to mark this again. Oh, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Okay. So if you were to play 1, 3, and 5, a major chord on 1, on C, you see that pattern? You just keep one, go to the next, just keep one, go to the next. This is a cheat sheet. So 1, you don't need to think too hard, you just need to move your fingers as they are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you notice, I'm playing, and maybe I shouldn't have started with that, but I'm playing the note that I started with here. And I'm saying that because I haven't got to other things called inversions yet. So if your C is the first note at this point in time, start with C. just play the bass of C. If you can just first of all get yourself oriented with this. So 1, 3, 5. So just move the fingers the same, play one, skip one, play one. So again, it hasn't taken us to the black notes yet because we're in the introductory part of this. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You can do that even if you've never been to music, even if like you don't know what you're doing in the piano, on the piano. But then again, remember, we are starting from C, which is the note adjacent to the left black note on the cluster of, can we call this a cluster? On the group of two notes. I don't know. Yeah, the two friends. So, start again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. There is one note we played there that's not minor. It's called a diminished chord. I won't tell you which one yet, but if you expound on how we were making a major scale from each of those keys, you will find which one it is, but we'll get back there later. So we'll first of all just do that plainly. And when you get used to that, you can play a simple song. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 1. Lean on me. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Somebody to lean on. So that's the basic, like that song is built on that. I don't think it's played on C, but it's the same kind of reasoning. It's the same kind of logic. So now when someone is performing and they've practiced enough, they'll play it good. Like they'll play it like they'll approach it different. They'll approach it differently. Like I'm trying to move the octave up so that I don't mess with the writings. Sometimes so you'll hear those things, all those additions and stuff, but I don't want to get there. I don't want to confuse anyone. Let's go back to this. So, I don't know if that's enough time for this. Oh, I think I still got some time. No, I don't, but I'll still continue. Bear with me again. And what else? What else should we know? Let me summarize the rule, because that was the goal of this lesson. The rule is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. I will mark minor chords, I guess, with the pink. Where are they? Oh, my pen. I'm sorry. I should probably use a computer or like a program, but that sounds like a lot of time. But I have a highlighter, luckily. So I use minor chords that, and the major chords I use the blue, and we'll be able to understand what we're saying here. I think I should look for a white whatever. Let's go to this rule. I know this is probably too far. The first chord, we said, if you're still confused, just use this. Minor. This is. That's major chord. and I should put that as a capital. And guess what we have again? We have, oh man. Okay, I know most of bigger than red. Forget it. We use black. Okay. Minor. So the very first number one, we have do. That's major. Do. Re is minor. Re. Mi is minor. Mi. Fa is major. Fa. So is major. So. La is minor. La. Ti. Ti. We'll use minor as of now, but I remind you something to do with this and being diminished. But as of this point, forget it. T, and the last do is definitely major. So it's like we have only 3 major chords. 1, 2, 3. Because this is the same as this. And what does that mean? It means 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7, it's always diminished, but it's not major. And then we have that. That's it. It's as simple as that. So blue, black. Oh, yeah, that's not black. There's more black than the other one. Okay, so if you were able to use the first rule we made, if you're able to use this to be able to create a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and then you're able, the second rule we used to make, I got lost. Okay, and then the second rule we used, which is 1, 3, 5.